Good morning, one and all. And here we are. We have another opportunity to get into God's Word and get our day started off right and get our weekend kicked off in the right direction as well. This morning I want to look at a passage in Luke, the 8th chapter. A couple of verses here, and what this is surrounding. Here's this old boy. He's got a daughter, and she's very sick. And notice what goes on here. In Luke chapter 8 and beginning in verse 41, it says, "And behold, there came a man named Jairus, and he was a ruler of the synagogue. And he fell down at Jesus' feet and begged him to come to his house. For he had an only daughter, about 12 years of age, and she was dying. But as he went, the multitudes thronged him." There's a powerful message and a point to be had and grasped in these two verses. Here is a man, and he has a problem within his family that he himself cannot do anything about. He's about to lose his daughter. And as the text goes on, she does eventually die, and Jesus does raise her back from the dead. But here's the point. I think it's a very important one. We look in the family structure today, and in many cases it's non-existent. We have many single mothers. We have many broken homes. We have homes with it's a lot of times different fathers, but with the same mother. And our family structure is absolutely imploding upon itself. And here's a man, he understands something, and I think this is the same thing that we need to understand today, is here's this father, this husband, and there's a terrible thing that's happening within his family. He realizes he cannot do anything about it himself. But what does he do? He goes to the only one that can do something about it. He goes to Christ. He goes to Jesus. Now, think about, if you may, this man's family is, they say the loss of a child is the hardest thing that anyone could ever go through. I've never done that, but that's what they say, and I can see the reaction of those that have, and I can certainly understand how that could be the case. And so here's this man, he has a problem within his family, and he cannot do anything about it. He can't help it. He can't fix it. He has to go get Jesus and get Jesus involved within his family to take care of this problem. And I believe that's the same principle of things that you and I need to do today. The only way that we are going to be able to save the family structure in this society and in our nation, in our towns, our neighborhoods, our states, and what have you, the only way that we're going to be able to save is to get Jesus involved in our families. Think about how things are working without Jesus in our families. We have what we have. We stand back and we look at what is going on around us, and we wonder, why are kids the way that they are? Well, many times they don't have a father figure. And the mothers are so overwhelmed with having to try to do everything on their own. Many times they don't make enough money to cover that. These fathers won't pay child support. Then they try to get these other men involved in life to try to help. And it's just a whirlwind of chaos of trying to fix a problem that can't be fixed in that way. And the only way that things are going to be able to get better in the family structure, and it has an impact on our society, it has an impact on our schools, it has an impact in every facet, is that we are going to have to get Jesus back in our families, back in our households. And I'm not talking about a superficial Jesus. I'm going to go to church somewhere and get a Jesus moment. No, it's a absolute way of life. It's not just loading up the kids and just taking them to church somewhere. No, it's an absolute change of life. It's cutting things out. It is implementing, it is following the characteristics and the lifestyle of Christ. That is what is going to be able to change. For until we get Jesus in our families, and get Jesus in our hearts, will we begin to see any great change. And here's the thing, maybe you're watching this and maybe your family, you feel like you don't have any control over it. Maybe things are spinning out of control. Maybe your marriage is not going as you said. Maybe your kids aren't behaving as you like. Maybe just everything's and friend, there's nothing you're going to be able to do about that except this. That's get Christ in your family. And men, you are the head of that household. They're going to follow your lead. They are going to, wives and kids, they are looking for leadership, and they're looking to the man of the house. They're looking to the father. They're looking to the husband for that. And if our families are not what we would like them to be, very possibly all we need to do is look in the mirror and we can see what the problem is. We would be the problem. And so we, as the heads of our families and households, what we need to do is do like what Jairus did for his family, is go and get Jesus and get him into our families. For if we do not do that, our families are not going to get any better. They're only going to get worse. And so what we need to do is follow this example. Notice again what the text says. And behold, there came a man named Jairus, and he was a ruler of the synagogue, and fell down at Jesus' feet and begged him to come to his house. That's what we need to do, a lot more of begging at the feet of Jesus for his help, so to speak. And get him, interject him into our families. That is the only hope of saving your family. Not just in this life, but also in the next. Interjecting Jesus, putting Jesus into our households is the only hope of saving our households. Interjecting Jesus into our families is the only hope of saving our family units. And here it is. If this man Jairus had never went to Jesus, his daughter would have remained that she died. Things got pretty bad, but Jesus brought her back. So you see, until we do that, our family today is as good as it's ever going to get, because it will continue to disintegrate until we get Jesus into our families. And there's our dose of God's Word. And I hope it'll be beneficial to you. And I hope that if these words are your situation, my friend, take to heart and follow the example of Jairus and get Jesus in your family. And not just some superficial emotional concept of Jesus. No, getting down and dirty, so to speak, and getting to learn who he is and then living like he is. And so there's your dose of God's Word. And so I hope it'll be beneficial to you. I hope it'll do you some good. I hope it'll do something for your families and be a benefit to them so that they can be what God would have us to be. And so there's your dose of God's Word. I hope it'll do you some good. And Lord willing, we'll get back together next week and get our day and get our Monday started off right. Y'all have a great day.